The first rule of Fight Club is not to talk about Fight Club. Until now. The Fight Club 4K Remaster brings back the film with upgraded visuals and sound, directed by David Fincher and starring Edward Norton and Brad Pitt. This is a film that has a massive cult following, and it has been given a major technical overhaul in 2026. So just a quick take here, this remaster elevates everything that made the original so special, and it upgrades the visuals and the music very nicely. With that being said, let's start with what works in this remaster. First, the aesthetic. David Fincher's grimy and dark aesthetic is unique to his entire filmography, and the upgraded visuals just amplify this aesthetic in the film. The level of detail is astounding here. Every shadow, every texture, and every bit of decay in the environment feels more intentional and powerful in this film. As I've said, the sound design is also a massive upgrade. The techno-heavy score feels really aggressive and draws you in as a viewer, and it keeps you engaged throughout the entire runtime. In addition, the cutaways to Edward Norton's mental state, displaying his desperation and his insomnia, is really effective throughout the first 30 minutes of this film. And then we've got to talk about Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden. He's charismatic, chaotic, and magnetic throughout this film. He's consistently trying to grab your attention. The remaster just makes his presence that much more magnetic and powerful for the viewer. He's the man that every man wants or thinks he wants to be. The writing throughout the first act also does a great job introducing the major characters that appear throughout the film. The voiceover is clean, intentional, and sets up the tragedy perfectly. The fight choreography also stands up really well here. It's raw, messy, and grounded, and I found myself flinching multiple times when guys were getting their heads pummeled in. Norton's gritty self-discovery and voiceover continues to add a propulsive drive to the film, and without spoiling anything, the reveal and the ending of this film are some of the most impactful moments in film. Also worth mentioning, the blood and the CGI gore effects look really good here. They feel very tactile and real with the dark blood that's gushing from these characters, and it made me kind of wince several times just out of how realistic these fights looked. And underneath all of this, the critique of masculinity and capitalism still holds up in today's society. I would even argue it may be even more relevant now that we're in 2026. Now, I'm going to be honest. There's not much here that doesn't work, but let's go ahead and go into a couple of my critiques. First, the CGI. Some of the digital effects haven't aged well since the 90s, and the clear resolution definitely doesn't help that. It doesn't ruin the film, but it did take me out a couple of times, and I ended up recognizing that I was watching a movie. The beginning of the story is also a little slow. This is intentional. It's setting up the narrator's world and allowing us to take a breath before getting intense towards the later half of the film. But the first stretch can feel a little long when trying to hook you. The character of Marla Singer, played by Helena Carter, is underutilized in this film, and I believe is underutilized in the original as well. She's important to this story, and I feel like there could have been way more screen time with her. And finally, some of the aspects of the film didn't translate well now that we're not in the 1990s. This includes Tyler Durden's cult and some of the more masculine portrayals of certain characters. The themes are still strong, but the cultural beats and some of the ways that things are presented just don't sit very well in 2026. So I'll say you'll love this if you were a fan of the original Fight Club and really like films that have a strong philosophy and drive to them. If you've never seen the film before in the 1990s, this is a great way to experience it. Compared to its original release, this film doesn't change the story in any unique ways, it's just a visual improvement. So overall, this version is sharper, louder, and more ambitious with how it presents its material. The flaws are still there, but everything that makes this film work also exists. So, on the caffeinated scale, I'm going to give Fight Club 4K Restoration a man, that's a damn fine cup of coffee. So if you watched the remaster, did it hit different than the original? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And I will keep brewing new reviews for you very soon. See you next time.